Hi, good morning, gentlemen. This is Robin Stienberg from the National Critics' Choice and the Policymaker column. Do tell us more about your website that's basically has tons of research that you guys have been doing. Could you give us the website address as well for our readers?
The website address is www.prosperity.com. It's the website for the Prosperity Index, which is a national assessment of both wealth and well-being. And what the website does is it houses all the data that we use in the Prosperity Index, and it allows users to interact with the data. You can select countries, you can select data points, and then you can compare different countries against different metrics. And so it allows access and interactivity for the users to look at whatever they like in terms of the data that we provide on the website.
And are there any plans for a Facebook or even Twitter to be made available for the readers?
We have both Facebook and Twitter accounts. If you search for the Legatum Institute, then you'll find us. And actually on the website that we just mentioned, prosperity.com, once you generate graphs, if you find anything interesting on on there, then you can link to both Facebook and Twitter via the easy buttons that we have there.
What do you see about 2012 for policymakers and even for individuals and lay persons? What sort of recommendations in your own perspective would you give?
I think one of the things that's constantly going to be an issue is how does one account for people's perceptions of some of the problems going forward. So, for example, in the Prosperity Index we look at subjective perceptions of the economy as well as objective indicators of how successful an economy is being. And so I think we would encourage people to kind of give that more thought about how one can incorporate both objective and subjective measures in assessing what public policies should be implemented in the future.
And do you see next year, like issues like energy and water and food security, does that hinder further growth in policy in the making? And all these four regions, such as the Asia Pacific, the Western nations, and Africa, and even Middle East, what do they have in common?
I think certainly food security and energy prices are important, both nationally and globally. Obviously, I think at the moment the most important areas for countries to be concerned with is economic growth. Coming off the back of the economic crisis, the economy is obviously a big part of where nations should be focusing in terms of future growth.
Now, just last question. Concerning the population growth here in this world, we have just surpassed 7 billion. Is there any cause for concern for rapid growth of population?
I think looking forward, societies have always found ways to accommodate larger populations. Obviously, for individual countries, there's decisions to be made about what they would like to do in terms of population growth. But as a prosperity index, we try and establish what might be the key metrics in terms of ongoing future prosperity. We provide, as we like to say, the ingredients for prosperity, but we allow each country to kind of develop the recipe in their own way and chart their own path.
One interesting trend that might be worth considering is not necessarily population growth, but actually declining birth rates, particularly in the Asia region. I think that's certainly going to be an area of study that requires more in-depth analysis and research over the coming years, and will obviously have a profound effect on a nation's prosperity.
Very last question. The role of women today. There is a saying that there's an imbalance of population between male and female. How does that affect the policy in the making? Would you see that there'll be more female dominance, and how is it that possible?
I think I'm not necessarily sure whether female dominance, but certainly equality. I mean, we're seeing female equality more and more across some of the regions of the world where it was at one point not equal. So in areas of the Middle East, certainly more and more women are getting equal rights to men in certain areas, and so I think obviously the role that women play in society is changing and continues to change, and obviously that's reflected in things like birth rates, particularly in the Asia region, as more and more women are getting better educated, better careers, they're choosing not to have children more and more, and so the role of women is certainly changing, and it's one that is particularly of interest to future prosperity.
Well, thank you for sharing with us at the National Critics' Choice.